Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My at name has not changed. It's also bang. Oh, here we go. Move my hand. Bang right there under my finger for those watching on our YouTube channel at Mike Dugar, MikeDugar. Speaking of our YouTube channel, shout out to everyone who was a subscriber, who was reviewed, left a comment. Rated the show. Appreciate the love and support there. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. That's Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. Also the same thing on Instagram and our TikTok, Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. Make sure you like, repost, reshare, whatever you got to do on those platforms. We really appreciate the love. It means a lot. Press the good buttons. In short, Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206 and that's CKID206.
As you guys know, I've been mentioning, usually at the end of the show, you're referencing that I've been selling books. I mean, you can come get them from me, and you can come, or you can hit me up and I'll send them out to you, a signed copy. So I just wanted to, I'm going to try to remember to start the show with the shout outs of people who did, particularly at home games. So a few shout outs today. We're going to go with Shervin. Shout out to you. You bought 3. We met today, pregame or halftime, can't remember. But shout out to you. Amber bought 1 for her son Owen. Shout out to Amber as well. Shout out Nathan, signed his book today. Also, and shout out Austin. All these people got books from me at the game. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for the love and support. And if you're coming to a game, any home or road, let me know. Hit me up ahead of time. I'll make sure I always have books on me. I'll make sure you got a book. So thank you to those 4. Really appreciate it. So every book I had on me today. So that's great. Always good when that happens. So thank you so much. All right. Now for the show itself, we got our post-game show. The Seahawks put it on the Minnesota Vikings today at the crib, 26-0. First shutout of the Mike McDonald era, first one in at least a decade, I believe. So shout out to the Seahawks for getting that done. Max Brosmer in the Bros Show was very excited for that, to see it today. He stunk. And the Vikings stink, and their offense stinks, and it was so bad. I think I was talking to Alec Lewis, who we had on the pod, our Vikings beat writer. He was like, Justin Jefferson didn't even talk to us today. It's like, did he ever do that? He was like, no, he talks every week. I say, well, he probably had a career low today in receiving yards, so that'll do it. And he had 4 yards today, so that'll do it. That's one of many stats that we'll get into today, Chris, that speak to the dominance of the Seahawks defense. But just broadly, shout out to those guys who did what is very hard to do in this league, and we see it every week. It's very hard to do what you're supposed to do. Sometimes it is. We just saw that last week. They were supposed to do this to the Titans. It didn't. So shout out to the Seahawks for at least the defense. We'll talk about the offense because that was yucky as well. But, shout out to the defense for doing what it was supposed to do. This Max Brosmer kid wasn't drafted. Has never made a start. Making his first start on the road. He's missing his left tackle and I believe his left guard as well. So he got a banged up O-line. Gets one of the best defenses in the league on the road. Undrafted rookie. And he looked like all of that. And you know what? That's not always the case. Chris and I have been covering this team long enough to remember Nick Mullen throwing for 400 yards on the Seahawks. I think Matt Schaub might have done it. I know Matt Ryan did as well. But yeah, like we've watched Colt McCoy beat the Seahawks twice at home. So don't take these for granted, people. It's not guaranteed that you do what you're supposed to do. And Chris, they did that.
Yeah, that's got to be a thumbs up for this team that prides themselves on finding themselves in a sticky situation. Sam Darnold sack, fumble, turnover. They get the ball, if I'm not mistaken, in the red zone or damn near it. And you're thinking, okay, the Vikings are going to at least get 3. And what do you know? Brosmer under pressure because of DeMarcus Lawrence coming off the edge on a play action pass on 4th down, if I'm not mistaken. He just throws it right to Ernest Jones. That's a play that an undrafted kid would make. He's just trying to get rid of it and throws it right to Ernest Jones. And this defense lived up to their expectation and played some really good football. Leonard Williams, I mean, he played so dominant. Mike McDonald, I think, rested him in the 4th quarter. I don't think he took any snaps in the 4th. I have to go back and double check that, but I'm pretty confident he was on the sideline with his helmet because his work has been done. And that's what you want to see from an elite defense. You want to see your backup guys getting out there and getting some reps and performing well. So this was just a performance for the defense that shows how elite they are and how they still believe they have an opportunity to still show that they can be even better, which is scary for opposing teams. And guess who they got on that schedule? 2 teams that they lost to, Niners and Rams. So you can bet that with each week as they get prepared for those big games, they just believe that they can do what they did on Sunday versus anybody, not just the Minnesota Vikings, getting pressure, forcing turnovers. So it'll be interesting how this team moves on and prepares for their next matchup against the Falcons, against Kirk Cousins and those boys. But looking at this game and this win, the defense was lights out and the offense, not so much.
All right. I love looking up stuff in real time. So you're correct. Sam's fumble was recovered at the 13-yard line. So yes, they were already in the red zone. And I quickly found that yes, Leo played actually 1 snap in the 4th quarter. Well, it was Ernest's second pick. So after that was it. That was the 1 snap. After that, Mike was like, "Yeah, you old buddy, you almost my age. You can get out of here." So yes, to your point, the vets resting there in the 4th quarter when they had that well in hand. And okay, I got a few more shout outs. These are not book related. They're actually related to our commentary of the show. Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks did what they're supposed to do and beat up on a really bad team. But also, guys, you guys know we're the big point differential show. The Seahawks, I believe, have, and I wrote this in my story, so hopefully it's right. The Seahawks have the best point differential in the league at 130 plus 133. This is a real team. So, and that's better than the Colts, better than the Patriots, who I believe play on Monday night. But let's check the Patriots to see if that'll hold through the week. Oh, the Patriots are at 92. So if the Patriots would have to beat the Giants by 38, I think is how you, or maybe a little bit more, maybe like 41, I think, which is doable, I guess. Anyway, the point is that the Seahawks can do this, to Chris's point just now. They can do this to anybody. They can do this to a decent team, a bad team, a good team. So that's just who they are. So my first shout out is to Dave Canales in the Carolina Panthers, who went and beat the Rams today. It was earlier in the day. So the Seahawks took the field knowing the Panthers won. And that was significant for a very huge reason here, is now the Seahawks are in control of the NFC West in terms of their ability to win it. Before, they needed to, let's say the Rams and the Seahawks, the Rams only loss for the rest of the way prior to Sunday was to the Seahawks. And both teams finished 14-3. Most of the simulators I threw around, the Rams win the tiebreaker in that regard, which is huge, right? Difference between the 1 seed and the 5 seed. Massive. So the Rams already have that other L. And it came today. So now if the Seahawks handle business and do their thing, finish 14-3, I believe that I know would hand them the NFC West, which is just huge. You're going into December with full control of your division. That you quite literally cannot ask for much more than that, other than having already clinched it. So that's huge. I think in the scenario that the Bears are 14-3 as well, they would get the 1 seed. So the Seahawks don't have control of the 1 seed because they need the Bears to drop 1, but just they control the division, which, I mean, you look at this division, it doesn't get much tougher than the NFC West. So shout out to Dave Canales and those boys. It kind of sweetening the pot, I guess, so to speak, for the Seahawks. That's huge. As long as the Rams and Seahawks continue to handle business going into Week 16, that'll be crazy good. I think the Seahawks will win the games they have until then, till Week 16. So shout out to Dave. His team's doing good. They're right there with the Bucs. That should be a good finish in the NFC South. And actually, we'll go over there I'm heading over there week 17, so that'd be fun. So shout out to those guys, giving the Seahawks championship aspirations a little bit more life, which is really what that did. Because I don't think you're winning with the 5 seed going to a Super Bowl. That is. So that's one. Two, a separate shout out to the Seahawks for really living that process over results thing. Like I really, it's very important. I think that's how they had a performance like they did today. Because last week, they were not happy on defense. I mentioned to you guys that a player who I still won't name, he didn't want to talk to me after the game. After last week's game, he was like, "I didn't make no plays. We gave up too many points. That's unacceptable. Let's get back to the drawing board." And that's after a win when the team scores 30. Right? And it's not because that individual player was selfish. He's not. There's plenty of players who felt the same way. Spoon felt the same way. Pretty much everybody I talked to on defense felt the same way last week. And feeling that way after a win, I think, is how you keep getting better. Like the Seahawks legitimately don't care who they're playing, if that makes sense. They're just like, all right, let's just be us. If we be us, they'll lose. Whoever they is every week. Falcons, Titans, Rams, whoever, like that's the mindset. And that's a Mike Macdonald thing. Chris and I talk a lot about the team needed to embody the coach. I think that's really, really, really important. And it's showing up because you can't just, all right, we won, so that's great. It's like, well, no, how did I do? How did the team do? How did my position group do? And is that sustainable stuff? And that's what I think last week was. It was like they only give up, what was that, Chris? 17 points they give up on defense to the Titans? Yeah, because they gave up 24, but some of it was a punt return. So really only give up 17 points. But they know good and goddamn well they shouldn't have let Cam Ward play like that. We knew that. The fans knew it. Everybody knew it. But sometimes teams don't want to they don't want to be complaining after wins. But no, I think that's important because it's supposed to look a certain way if you want to get where you want to go. And I think that is what the Seahawks team is. And that's why you could be kind of confident, particularly in the defense. The offense has been that way too. After the Houston loss, for instance, they were like, yeah, we hung 27 on the best defense in the league, at least the best one that's not ours. But they're like, we need to play better because they turned it over 4 times. Same thing with the defense. It's like, well, we shouldn't have let Cam Ward score 17 on us for real. That was like the attitude. And today they went in there like, we shouldn't let Max Brosmer score. That was the idea. And then they didn't. So Derek Carr was talking after the game. He was like, one of their many sayings, there's a bazillion Mike Macdonald-isms these days, but one of them is it shouldn't be close, or it doesn't have to be close, I believe is the direct quote there. It doesn't have to be close, i.e., we should go be putting belt to ass if we be us. That's the mindset. And that's the mindset I think you got to have as a defense. But everyone says it, but you can see the Seahawks live in it. It's like, okay, we played good, but that wasn't enough. We played good, but Houston shouldn't have got that last touchdown. We played good, but Spencer Rattler shouldn't have got that garbage time touchdown in the 4th. We played good, but the Cardinals shouldn't have came back on us in the 4th like that. Like there's all of they keep those in mind. That's why no one downplayed the shutout today. They were like, yes, we needed to shut these guys out because that's what we've been wanting to do to a lot of teams that just haven't. I think it takes a certain special type of the team to really, really live that out. And I think that's why they're actually in that. I know that's one reason why they're as good as they are. Like they're unsatisfied with anything less than the standard, even if they win. And that's important. So yeah, because I think that contributed as much as anything to today. They went in there thinking we legitimately should not let these guys score. Like if we do our thing, they should not score. And they were right. First shutout in I don't know how long. And honestly, it never felt like the Vikings were going to score. If they played 7 more quarters, like an 11 quarter, I don't still think the Vikings don't score. Like that was just some of the one of the biggest that was probably worse than the Washington game in terms of like legitimate beatdowns. Like that was about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, it doesn't get worse. But to your point about the mindset of them following their leader and Mike Macdonald, that's what you want to do. Now, Mike Macdonald talks about stacking. Can they stack another win on top of what they did? Obviously, Atlanta's a lot better than what we just witnessed with the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if they have Drake London back. Is he on IR?
I don't know if the Falcons are bad, man. I don't know if by the time this pod come out, they still are employing Raheem Morris. Did you see any of that game today? No, for real, man. You can't lose to the Jets like that, man. The Jets Jets are bad. The Jets are like basically like this season's a wash, and they're still beating teams. That's just the Falcons might be just as bad as what we saw. Anyway, carry on.
Fair enough. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I would love to see them stack wins, and that's what Mike McDonald's all about: stacking wins, being better than you were last week. But the bigger question mark comes to that offense, because my goodness, how they performed on Sunday against the Vikings. They might not beat the Falcons. They might not beat anybody coming up because it was just that bad. Yeah, they ran the ball late in the game, and at this point, Minnesota's tired of being on the field. They probably just like, yeah, bro, go ahead and score, man. It was just, they had a lot of possessions out there, but good credit to them. They kept doing it. The toss worked a few times, believe it or not. So what more could you ask for? When they needed to, they were successful. Hell, they scored a touchdown off the run, and that was the only touchdown offensively of the game because the other touchdown came from Ernest Jones on a pick six when it's 3-0. Outside of that, Sam Darnold got to get rid of the football a few times. Hey, buddy, we'll go over that later on because someone asked a question about those sacks. But yeah, I think we should get to voicemails. You ready to get to Twitter questions and all that fun stuff, Mike?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we'll start off obviously with voicemails. We appreciate each and every one of you for go ahead and ringing the line and leaving a voicemail. Here is our first one.
Yo, Corey from Seattle here. So who or what is going to improve Mike Mack's in-game decision-making? Got bad clock management before the half, bad conservative fourth down calls, and keeping starters in during garbage time. It doesn't look like chasing edges to me. All right, peace.
Yeah, thank you, Corey, for the question. Yeah, very fair. Let's start. I forgot my notebook today. So shout out to Dave Bowling, a stringer for the Spokesman Review these days. So I have a different notepad than usual. You guys can see that. But yeah, there's a few instances today. I don't know if we got to go over all of them, but of the stuff today, in terms of from a game management standpoint, I didn't go to his press conference afterwards. I never usually do. I like to work the locker room since I'll get more chances to talk to Mike. I won't get more chances to talk to these guys before Wednesday afternoon. So I didn't go in there. So maybe he gave an explanation, maybe he didn't. But Chris, for the life of me, I can't imagine why he didn't call timeout after D-Law sack after the 2-minute warning. That was utterly ridiculous.
My thought process was the defense is balling. The offense is stalling. Why are we going to rush it? We have a lead. We'll get the ball at the half. Kind of what I talked about, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where, now I got to think about who they played 2 weeks ago. That was, okay. So basically the Seahawks.
That was the Rams.
Wasn't that game then, because they actually, was it in hindsight? The point I'm making is I think Mike McDonald just realized the situation and wanted a clean slate. He didn't want to force anything, didn't want to put Sam Darnold in harm's way because the offensive line just wasn't being good. They weren't protecting. Sam was getting his ass beat for the first half. And with that, yeah, you get a huge stop. That's great. But you know what? Let's just go into the half. Let's just run the football. We're good. We don't need to force anything. We're going to get it to start the half, and we can start off a lot better. That was kind of my thought process. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to watch Sam take more punishment. So why am I going to call a timeout and try to run the score up? Let's just go into half, take it as is. Our defense is playing lights out. We'll fix everything we need to in the first half for the second half. Obviously, everyone talks about adjustments and all that and how you don't have much time. But the Seahawks believe they could play much better. And so I think Mike McDonald just made a decision and said, we're not going to even try to do that. Let's just get into the half, come out of it, execute, and handle business. For the most part, though, the defense kept on doing what they needed to do. Offense, not so much. So I'm not saying I agree with that process if that was his mindset going into the half, but I think it was just one of those situations where we don't need to force, the Seahawks don't need to force anything. Let's just go into the half. We have a nice 10-0 lead. We're good. We're comfortable. This Brosmer kid, he's not ready for what we got for the defense and that offense. We're fine.
I really hope that wasn't his logic. I hope not, because here's the thing: you're getting the ball regardless you call timeout or not. That's the thing. Like you have to run plays unless you just take 3 knees, which that would have been just complete. I would have demanded he be fired. He did that like that up 10-0. That's I've seen him be more aggressive when they have 30 points in the first half. So yeah, the they came out of the 2-minute warning. D-Law sacks Brosmer, and he basically let them bleed like 40 seconds. They don't get the ball until there's less than a minute left on the clock after the first play out of the 2-minute warning was a sack. And they had all 3 timeouts, so I'm looking at it again. Yeah, then they ran to Zach, threw it to Jax, ran it to Zach, threw it to Shaheed. Let's see, had a couple of passes, batted. It looks like, yeah, two in a row batted actually, and then kicked a 56-yard field goal on 4th and 3. I just couldn't. I can't imagine that he was just like, let's play it safe here, especially in such a tight game. 10-0 is still tight, even though I mean they should have been kicking their ass. Usually he's a big fan of maximizing the all right, let's score and then we're gonna get it back out of the half, like how he ended the Rams game. I thought he managed that really well. It was like, let's take our time, get points at the end of the half, so they don't get the ball back. So yeah, that was really funky. Let's see, what was the other big one? He ran it on 3rd and 14 to Shaheed. I didn't mind that, because at that point, that would click with more with what you were just saying. Sam's getting his ass beat. We don't need to drop back on 3rd and 14, which I'm looking through my notes now, which I believe that was in the 4th quarter or something like that. Like, it was real late in the game to the point where you don't need to subject your quarterback to more harm. That one I understood. Oh, where's the other one? There were 2 more. He had a 4th and 1. He had 4th and 1 when they were up, I think 19-0. And they weren't going to go for it. Remember this before Zach ends up scoring?
Called a timeout and switch change.
What the hell was that? The fans were in there booing. Fans in there booing up to 19-0. Yeah, and then Mike McDonald, to his credit on that one, he says, I was being too much of a nerd. I need to call timeout. I heard the fans booing. The fans were right. Clint had us very confident in what we could do to get it, and they ended up getting it. It was like a 2-yard pass to AJ Barner. They ended up scoring 2 plays later. So I didn't really understand Mike on that one. That was unnecessarily conservative. And
the worst one was their fake tush push to play action pass. What the hell?
They did that today?
Okay, maybe it was a play action pass, but they went up and Sam Darnold was about to do a tush push and they audibled out of it and did not get the first down. I was like, well, just run the tush push. You're successful.
The tush push should be the go-to short yardage at all times. They had a 3rd and 1 where they tried to throw it to Jax. I think
that was it.
Yeah, and then they end up kicking a field goal. I'm looking at my notes now. End up kicking another field goal here. On the first drive out of the 3rd quarter there. So yeah, I can see why everyone's so mad about like game management, because you go into the half with some just stupid decision making, I would say, by not calling a timeout, bleeding all that, letting all that time run down. So you had to kick a long field goal, and then they had a 3rd and 1 on a pass that got batted at the line. Again, Sam had a weird issue with that today. And then instead of going for the 4th and 1, you kick a 54-yard field goal. It was very weird today. And I usually give Mike McDonald some credit because he talks about this on his radio show. I don't think Chris and I talk about it too much, but he says that a game needs to declare itself and you kind of go accordingly. Basically, like, all right, what kind of game was it today? And what he means by that is, I mean, you guys know what that means too, but like the Bucks game, that was very clear. Like, okay, we're in a shootout today. We're going to have to make some, maybe to be more aggressive, take some shots, blah, 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 go for it on 4th downs. You guys can feel that too. Let me think. What's it? A game, Chris, in the inverse? I don't know if they've had one this year, but I gave one last year. The Bears game. I think they won 6-3. Like after a while there, it became clear. Like, all right, this is a field position game. Possess the ball. Our offense. Not to say we don't have it today per se, but like clearly our defense does. So let's lean on that. And they played that game accordingly, if I remember correctly. So for the most part, I usually credit Mike for filling out a game and how it's gonna go. Today, that was very strange. Those decisions in particular. Again, not the 3rd and 14 run to Shaheed. That was fine. Not with the way Sam was protecting the ball today. 2 fumbles, threw in traffic to Elijah Arroyo. I didn't like that. So another game with multiple turnover-worthy plays, I thought, from Sam. God bless Cooper Kupp jumping on that. But so I get not dropping back there. But yeah, those other ones, the 4th downs, the not calling the timeout, when you got the tush push, that's why you installed a tush push. It's supposed to be your little cheat code play. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I don't think people are gonna fault you for doing it, and pushing. It's worked every time there's been a push.
I was
right?
stunned. They audibled out of it and said, "You know what? We're gonna do something different. So just run the tush push, man."
Yeah, it's very, very weird stuff today. So I get it. I think the good thing about Mike, I do think he's gonna see some of that stuff and be like, "What was I thinking?" Like he already realized that from the 4th and 1, that they ended up going for and getting that he had to call a timeout to go get. So I think he getting there already. He was there in real time. So hopefully he watches the tape tonight or tomorrow, whatever, and says, "Yeah, I was bugging. We needed to just run our stuff, because the game allowed them to do that."
Hey guys, this is Paul from Glasgow, Scotland. I was just curious, now that we're 9-3, do you think if we beat the Falcons next week that we're at least a minimum playoff team? Last year we were 10 wins and just barely missed it, but this year, do you think that if we beat the Falcons, we'll clinch? Obviously I want more than that, but just get your thoughts. Thanks.
Scotland, yeah, appreciate
Man,
that's
love
there. Yeah, that is, man. Thank you. Yeah, there's a difference between getting your 10th win on December 7th or whatever and getting your 10th win on January whatever that they got last year. So I'm gonna read you some numbers from our playoff simulator at the Athletic. Again, I'm gonna keep plugging this because I'm a company man, but also because it's really cool. So the New York Times, I believe the simulator is free if you don't have a subscription. I'd have to double check that, but if you do, go to Athletic, type in Athletic Playoff Simulator. You can go in there and just play with scenarios, not just the Seahawks remaining games, but you can pretty much map out the season. Like, what if this team wins and this team wins and this team loses? Blah blah blah. It's pretty fun. It's kind of like the ESPN playoff one, but better. So use ours. Anyway, so what we have now is the Seahawks have a 93% shot of making the playoffs. Rams at 98, Niners at 94. Seahawks 23% chance of winning the division. Niners at 17. Rams at 59. Seahawks with a 17% chance of getting the first round bye, 8% at the Super Bowl. So yeah, this team is going to get in the postseason, whether they beat the Falcons or not, to be honest. And that is also why so much of these wins is not about necessarily what happened in that game, but how predictive it is. Like I had a homie text me, hit one of our group chats about Mike McDonald's game management today. He was like, that type of stuff is how we lose playoff games right there. It's the bad game management. I completely agree. But you can see he was already thinking about January because that's how this team needs to conduct itself. Like, yes, you did your part, but also, are you going to be able to do that when it matters? That's why we were all harping on the run game earlier in the year. It's like, yeah, you're scoring a bunch. You're throwing it to Jax. That's great. But if you can't run the ball, you will get sent home. That's just a fact. And even today, maybe we can get into it a little later or now. But Chris, today was one of those when you talk about the offense. Not just Sam being under pressure. He couldn't get the ball to Jax today. And you see how the offense looks. What did Sam have? 128 yards. Only, put it this way. Sam had 2 more passing yards than Max Brosmer. 2. That's it. That's what happens sometimes when you can't get the ball to Jax like they could not. And I think we can all agree, Chris, that if you can't get the ball to Jax, you're cooked. If you're the Seahawks. Playoffs, no playoffs, home playoff game, no home playoff game. You can't get the ball to 11, which they could not today. You're getting packed up in January. Almost guaranteed, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to what the Vikings did. They did a good job. He went the whole first half without a catch. At one point, they were just like, damn, we're going to have to just throw a quick screen to this man because the first catch was an out route. And then the second time they threw it to him, it was just a guy was playing 7-8 yards off. Maybe it was supposed to be a run, and they just rifle it right to JSN. He gets a couple of yards there. But outside of that, they said, beat us with anybody else. And I think it was who led the team in
pretty sure Barner
yards?
led them in yards today, yeah.
They were like, yeah, go ahead. Do it. JSN is not going to be he is not going to be a factor for this offense. And that went poorly. It truly did. Thank God for Ernest Jones and that defense and DeMarcus Lawrence. John Schneider gets a little love there for going out and getting him. they did their thing today on Sunday. You take away that touchdown, you're looking at 3-0, and who knows how this game ends up being, because the Minnesota Vikings defense was getting after Sam Darnold. They were doing a good job of slowing up the run, but after a while, you just get your ass ran into for 40 minutes. You're down. You're gonna break down, and the Vikings eventually broke down, and you saw it. Zach Charbonnet springs loose for a touchdown, 26-0 ball game. So you're able to see just wearing down a team, but a good team, that's not going to work. The Minnesota Vikings are not a good team. They have a good defense, not a good team. Their offense is terrible. Brosmer kid, felt bad for him. He's ass. So you just he really is. I was like, damn. At what point do you call it? Are you guys sold on JJ McCarthy being that bad? Because I don't know if JJ would have been this bad. He might have been bad, but this bad. I know Mike has all the EPA stats and everything. I think Brosmer might have outdid him, but anywho, as Mike says, it's not a Vikings podcast. You get the point. So credit to the Minnesota Vikings for shutting down JSN, and the Seahawks got to find a way to use someone else. Maybe it's Rashid Shaheed, a guy that they traded for a couple of picks in that regard to get. Maybe he can be that next guy to take the next step. Or, I don't know, Cooper Kupp. Someone has to emerge as the number 2 guy. And unfortunately, with an injury to their receiver room, they didn't have Torrey Horton. He probably would have been the guy on Sunday, but he's banged up. So now you're relying on other guys. Cody White did have a big 3rd down catch that moved the sticks, but they're going to need some more consistency throughout the game and not just one or two instances where a guy steps up.
I have a you want a Brosmer stat, EPA stat, since you mentioned it.
Man.
Before we go to the next question.
I know that pick 6 might have just I think it was probably what? Actually, go ahead. I'm gonna just give you the stat.
Okay. So EPA per drop back, again, for my non-nerds, it's just like an efficiency metric, like how efficient were you or not per drop back. It's a good all-encompassing scrambles, throwaways, touchdowns, like everything, not just like passer rating sucks. Don't use that because there's a lot of things that can happen that don't get factored into passer rating. So there are 388 games this quarterback performances this year that qualify for EPA per drop back. 388. Max Brosmer today, his performance ranks 386th this year. It is the 3rd worst, and I don't know if anyone from the Sunday night game would, if this is updated enough, but it doesn't matter. It looks like both of those quarterbacks played okay. So 386. This is the 3rd worst EPA performance in the NFL. And Jake Browning has the 2nd worst. Looks like he played 48-10 against the Vikings this year. And then Tua actually has the absolute worst of the Browns, 31-6 loss they had. So, yeah, that's how bad Brosmer was. So, yeah, it was actually as bad as JJ has been. And JJ is here in the bottom 20, bottom 15 3 times. So he's pretty bad too. But nothing as bad as what we've seen from what we saw from Brosmer today, to put that in perspective. And if you are curious, Sam Darnold has 3 of the top 5 performances.
That's a big concern. Sam is
no, in the positive, excuse me.
Oh,
3 of
okay.
the best 3 of the best 5 are Sam this year.
Go.
So Sam has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. The Saints game is number 1, Commanders game is number 3, and then the Bucks game is number 5. So he's got a lot. He's got 3 of the top 5. So he's been slinging it. Penix has the 6th actually. So anyway, that's how bad Brosmer was. That was legitimately one of the worst performances that we've seen in the NFL this season. I should have put that in my story. Hopefully I get that in my follow-up.
Hey guys, Steve from Spokane. Love the pod. I'm caught between 2 worlds. Obviously that defense, the way they played on Sunday, the turnovers was fantastic. But the offense slipped, and we saw Sam Darnold kind of regress. Are you more optimistic about the defense or more pessimistic about the offense? Thanks, guys.
This is a good one. This is a good one.
Is.
You go first.
I will say pessimistic about the offense. There's just so much to worry about. The run game is still, it's iffy. And then Sam Darnold, man, turnover king. Like, if you just remove Sam Darnold, the Seahawks, I think, have like 2 turnovers. Cooper Kupp interception and JSN fumble.
I think Arroyo fumbled too. I think he fumbled in the Texans game. But yeah, to your point. And
Three-
Milrow fumbled too.
4
Milrow on the
fumbles
pitch.
out of Sam Darnold's like 50. Insane. It's just that is a concern. He has to be better at that. I don't know. They'll have to do drills where he just backs up and they just start smacking the hell out of him with them pads. Hold on to the football. I know, and you know what? Give credit to the Vikings defense. I know number 51 on the sack fumble where Cholera just doesn't block the edge defender. He goes in there and swinging out the football. Obviously, you'd want to have the ball tucked away and get him ready to throw it. He has to be able to feel that pressure. You got to be just aware, and it's tough. I get it. Playing quarterback is not for the weak, and it's not easy, but he has to be so much better. It's getting to a point where I don't have words for how dangerous it could be in a playoff game, your first playoff game, and they're just raking at the football, and Sam has 4 fumbles or something crazy. I mean, the dude did throw 4 interceptions. Could he have 4 fumbles? I don't know. He had 2 today, 2 on Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings. They ended up getting 1 back thanks to Cooper Kupp, and the other one they did not get back. So with that being said, I'm very pessimistic on this offense. And then to our earlier point about JSN, if they're not getting the football to him, that just creates it's just a domino effect of problems for this offense, I think. Luckily, they played against a really bad football team offensively, so it worked out. But I don't know if you can do that against the Falcons, albeit Mike just, the Falcons, they lose to the Jets, but I just feel like Kirk Cousins is going to be able to make something shake, something work if he's given 2 straight fumbles throughout the game and just turnovers and all that. I think he's going to make those opportunities the best. They're going to at least get 3, I'd imagine. 3 doesn't win you football games. Maybe against the Falcons it could, but in this scenario, I think with this offense, you got to be worried about the turnovers from Sam Darnold. And if they're not going to get the ball to JSN and they can't run the football, that's just a recipe to lose.
I got a stat for you before I talk about the defensive side of this. Are you ready? This is not a good stat, but it speaks to what you're saying. Sam Darnold now leads the NFL in turnover percentage. 4.2%. That is more than Geno, more than Tua, more than Bryce Young, more than Mariota, more than Joe Flacco. These are other guys that are behind it, more than Cam Ward. On a per play basis, Sam is turning it over more than anyone, any quarterback in the NFL. I can see the pessimism because that you just can't have that. I don't care how good your offense is. You can't have that. Now, still by EPA per dropback, he's 9th right now, right behind Stafford. So he's still playing fine. His good games are so good. Again, some of the best we've seen this year that they are kind of mitigating the overall damage of his season-long efficiency because he's going to end the year with good season-long numbers. However, you just should not lead the league in turnover rate. you just should not. He's got 15 turnovers. I don't know how many does that lead the league in just raw number? Let me see. It may not. It does. Oh my God. So Geno, Tua, and Sam are all tied. 15 turnovers. Sam just has the higher percentage because he's played fewer snaps, had fewer plays like dropbacks, scrambles, which makes sense because those other 2 teams trail a lot more, so their quarterbacks throw it a little bit more often. So yeah, now Sam has accounted for more touchdowns than those guys, 19 compared to 17 for Tua, 15 for Geno. So he's still, again, one of the more efficient quarterbacks. But to your point about pessimism, ball security. Yes, Nick Callerup blew that block. Dallas Turner, unblocked. Hold on to the ball. Simple. There's no other coaching point. Hold on to the ball. So I get you. Real quick on the defensive side of this, though. I am really optimistic about the defense because of their mentality, because of the way they have so many guys who know, like Mike puts everyone in position to shoot their shot, so to speak. And I think I mentioned this on the show before, but like I might even do a story on this. When Mike McDonald said on the radio last week that his philosophy is like, our goal each snap is to maximize negative outcomes. I thought that was just so brilliant of a mindset because you can see it. Like they had a big play today, and I want to say it was the seam ball. It was either the seam ball that Nicky Memori got beat on, or it was him body slamming Justin Jefferson. Either way, I know it was a play that Nick did. And right after that, they just run blitz Drake Thomas, and he drops him for a loss. But that was intentional, though. It's like, okay, how can we basically get it back? Like, how can we maximize a negative outcome on the next snap? And that's what he does. And then that's a schemed up one. But then he has other ones that aren't schemed up, where you get D-Law's play that leads to the Ernest Jones pick 6. That's just him like, hey, D-Law saw something. He has the freedom in the scheme. Go shoot your shot. And that's just really impressive, I think, on top of the ability to make everyone a pass rusher. I think 17 guys have at least half a sack. Come on, that's absurd. Their leaders, I think, are Leo and Murph with 7 apiece. So it's not like any guys. They're not the Browns are like, okay, our defense is Myles Garrett and company, or even the Texans that are Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter and company. No, this is a gang. So I do feel really good about that because that is sustainable, which is why when you see guys in and out of the lineup, it doesn't matter. Everyone can make plays. Tyrese Knight, come in, make plays. Patrick O'Connell, come in, make plays. Ty Okada, come in, make plays. Darion Kendrick, come in, make plays. They've got D'Anthony Bell has only played a handful of defensive snaps. He has a sack. So I think that part is really sustainable. It gives me hope for the future. Offense, not so much for the reasons Chris said.
Hey, Mike and Chris, what's up? This is Jimmy. I'm calling from Seattle. Great game by the defense today. So in the past, I have been kind of critical of John Schneider and some of the moves he's made. But would you say this year he would be the front runner for Executive of the Year? He made the moves for obviously signing Sam Darnold and DeMarcus Lawrence, but then the draft was great too. Obviously, with Gray Zabel, and then they drafted Nick Emenwari. So what do you guys think of his chances to win that award?
Yeah, I'd have to really analyze every team's off seasons, but yeah, John's had a really good one. I would say, Chris, off the top of my head, just kind of looking around, the Patriots made a lot of good moves this season as well, which is why they're where they are. If you discount hiring Vrabel, they wouldn't upgrade their defense. They spent some money there. They spent a lot of money, I think, just in free agency. Guys like Milton Williams, a couple corners, linebackers. So they were good there. They had a good draft as well. Went and got a left tackle. I think he's hurt now, but went and got him. Got that running back that's killing it. I don't know their whole stuff, but go sign a Stephon Diggs. Like the Patriots did a good job too. I don't even know who their GM is, but they did a good one. They have really good record. The Bears did some good stuff too. They drafted well, fixed their O-line in free agency, threw a lot of money at that. Made some trades, I think. Got the guy from the Rams. I don't know how well he's doing, but got that center in free agency. Forget his name, guy from Atlanta. So off the top of my head, there's some other people in the running. But to the point of the question, yeah, John's had a good offseason. The draft was good. Even Worry. Who else? Who else really stands out from the draft? Yeah, Zabel, Torrey. Although Torrey's gonna look if he needs to get back on the field. Oots is having like an okay year. But I think the top of the class was good there. What's some other highlights? Yeah, the Sam for Geno swap looks like the best move in the NFL. So you get that going for you. Colts also though made some good moves so they can win the division there. The Daniel Jones. The receiver thing, this is getting interesting, Chris. Maybe we dive into this on a later show. The receiver swap is actually looking kind of interesting, especially in this context of only being able to get the ball to JSN. So you punt on DK, which is fine. It won't be here. That's fine. But then it's like you got the MVS signing, which doesn't work. The Cup signing, which is kind of just honestly just whatever, really. Because if you were killing it with that, you wouldn't have needed to spend 2 more picks on Shaheed, who you also just now can't get the ball to without just directly handing it to him. I feel you can kind of go the same way with like, I get cutting Noah Fant, but like you're not getting much out of the guy you thought would replace him, which was not just AJ because they would have played together. It's Elijah. Really not getting much there either, at least this season. Whereas I have to look up the numbers. I bet Noah's having a much better season, and you didn't need the money, and you got nothing in terms of assets. Not like you traded him. So not a slam dunk, but yeah, I think D-Law's a home run. Nick's great. Zabel's great. So yeah, I think without looking at doing a deep dive on everyone's offseason, I would say, yeah, New England probably feels the same way about their offseason. The Bears, who are the number 1 seed in the NFC, probably feel equally great about their offseason. I think all 3 of those teams feel really good. And I guess you could maybe, if the Packers end up winning the NFC, they probably would feel pretty good as well, especially if they do it on the back of a really good defense. But yeah, John's right there. Not every move is hit. You can question some of them. I think the Shaheed one is going to keep coming into question if he doesn't get the ball, which is fair. So yeah, but mostly, yeah, John's in there. He should be right in the running for it, I guess, is the short way to answer that question.
Let's go to IG. This comes from Tanner. PFF has Gray Zabel ranked 71st out of 81 starting guards overall, even though he hasn't given up a sack and only allowed 4 QB hits all season. So my question is Zabel good, or is PFF right to grade him so poorly?
Yeah, I know people at PFF, so I don't really want to just like totally dump on them as an organization and a crew. However, I do not care about their grades. I don't. I did earlier in my career. Some things happened. I talked to some people about how things can be manipulated over there. I guess is the safest way to say that without explaining. So I just don't care about the grades. I generally just use PFF for where guys line up. Like if they sign a guy I haven't heard of and I want to see, oh, how often has he lined up at left guard? How often has he lined up in the slot or something like that? Like when they picked up Darion Kendrick, I was like, is he a nickel or outside? Go to PFF and check his breakdown. Boom. That's it. No grades, no nothing. So I don't pay attention to him. Not for O linemen, not for DBs, not for linebackers. Remember, this is the same company. I think Seahawks fans should really only need a few examples. Chris, let me know if I'm forgetting any. But 2 really stand out. Actually, 3. They traded for Quentin Dunbar. PFF told us he was the #1 graded quarterback or corner in coverage that year. I think that was coming off the 2019 season. That's 1. After the 2021 season, I want to say, the #1 safety was Ryan Neal. After the 2023 season, the #1 inside linebacker was Tyrell Dodson. All of that stuff sounded crazy in real time, and it aged poorly. Now, does PFF get some stuff right? Absolutely. But those 3 examples in Seahawks world are all of that should be enough for y'all to be like, okay, never mind. Let's stop caring about the grades. Again, they got some other stats that are great. But the grades, you can ball those up, shoot them in a trash can and yell Kobe or whatever. You've been around more kids than me. Do they still yell Kobe when they put them
Kids
in the trash can?
They say 6'7", Mike. 6'7".
Oh yeah, that's true. I just learned what that was last week. Too. I'm getting old. But yeah, I don't care about that. Gray has been playing really, really good. He got beat around a little bit by Jeff Simmons. Happens. He has been playing really, really good. If the McMillan kid in Carolina wasn't doing what he's doing, I would vote Gray for Rookie of the Year. He is playing really, 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 really good ball.
Sticking with the O-line, this is from Teddy. How quickly are you turning in the card to pick an interior offensive line in next year's draft if you are the GM?
I still might beef up the D-line, to be honest. Because we kind of joke how old Leo is, and then Jay Reed. I'm like, well, if I see a successor there, like is there another Byron Murphy? Let me go grab one of those. But Chris, I'm sure this question is born out of watching Anthony Bradford. My Twitter mentions you guys are getting funnier. I'm not going to read any of those because those are just mean. But you guys are getting funnier as it comes to critique of AB. And it sucks today because for a minute there, I was like, man, you guys are tripping. Everything not AB's fault. Like I tweeted out the first sack. Clearly Abe is beat. Everyone's like, oh, look at AB block nobody. I'm like, dog, Abe is whooped off the rip, guys. Like even Greg Olsen said it. It's like, yeah, and Abraham Lucas is beat off. Yeah. Why are you guys worried about Bradford? Bradford pushes the blitzer. And if Sam had a room to step up, that would have been perfectly fine. Anyway, so I was like, man, AB's not playing that bad. And then there were 2 like run plays where he legit blocked nobody. One of them was on a Ken run, and another one I think was on a Zach run where he's the puller and just misses. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue with nobody today. They got it. Because how am I gonna argue with the tape? It's right there. Because people always say this because like, oh, why AB don't block nobody? And I'm like, well, okay, that's unfair. And today I was like, you know what? Y'all got it. Because that stuff was egregious today. I was like, come on, man. You gotta block somebody. I don't know if that means draft an interior offensive lineman. Still gotta be somebody worth it. But today, all right, y'all, you guys got it. Go get your jokes off. I'm not gonna participate in that because I think AB overall doesn't warrant how mean you guys are. But today, some of those blocks today, I was like, yeah, nah, You can't have that's unacceptable stuff today, particularly in the run game, which is supposed to be like his bag.
This is from Disintegrator. What does the offensive line have to do to improve its game, and how much of the offensive performance on Sunday do you attribute to them? Secondarily, do you think the league has the Seahawks offense and Sam's number?
Let's focus on that second one, Chris, because I think that was very interesting today. I don't know how much they showed on the broadcast replays, but I've watching it live and rewatching a little bit of the game before we recorded today. I did not think the Vikings did anything special to take away Jax. They did like what I would consider very simple stuff. Like there was one, I'll give you guys an example. There was one play today where it's Jackson's first target, actually. He tries to one-hand it because I think Byron Murphy is guarding him. Byron is face guarding Jackson. He is just standing there. Look, he don't care about nothing else. He's like, I don't care what you do. That's how I used to coach my flag football kids. Like 9 years old. They just go just run around and just follow him. Look him in the eyes, nose to nose. And I'm pretty sure Byron has safety help, but still, that was like elementary level assignment. It was like, hey, just go follow that guy. Like the face guard in basketball, like a boxing one for my hoops people who know how that works. Basically, it's like you're in the other four people are essentially in zone, and one person is just shadowing the other team's star. So that's what they did on that particular play. And there were other examples too, but I was like, Chris, yo, this plan ain't even that fancy. They are just doing really simple stuff, and to me at least, maybe it'll show more on tape, but they were doing simple stuff to take away the other team's best player, and the Seahawks had nothing for it. And that was very, very alarming live, and it was very, very alarming on the rewatch of the broadcast copy, not the film.
Nah, I'm right there with you, man. It was that I knew exactly what play you were referring to because I watched live. I said, did he just face guard my man 14 yards down the field? I don't know if I haven't seen that too often.
I've never seen that before.
So it was kind of like, okay, Flores, I guess. I mean, sure. He didn't catch the football. I think Sam was confused. He was like, I can't hit him in the back of the head. Like there was nowhere to throw it. So he's like, I'll throw it outside. And JSN tried to make the one-hand grab and just couldn't. But yeah, that was impressive is the word, maybe. I
don't even know what to call that. Yeah.
All right. This next one comes from Hawks Ninja. Too many batted passes, and seems like quick game lacks variety. What's happening to the Seahawks offense? What can be done to fix this?
I appreciate the question. Yeah, there was a lot of them today. I think there were a couple things happening, and not all batted passes are the same. Sometimes you're inviting a free rusher because you feel like you can throw hot. For instance, one of them to Jackson today, they're trying to throw to the right. They're like, okay, they're blitzing more than we have. That's fine. We're going to get it out quick. I think it was 3rd down, 2, and then Harrison Smith just jumps up and swats it down. That happens. The guys get paid too. It's fine. Some of the other ones, those are, yeah, I mean, it did look a little predictable on some of the plays, but you got to remember, quick game is not that. There's not that much variety in quick game anyway. You watch enough film, you see the teams are running a bunch of the same stuff. It's a bunch of just like, this guy runs a curl. This guy runs to the flat. This guy hits the sticks and turns around. Like maybe there's a post behind this or something. Like it's not very diverse. Quick game isn't. That's why, as much as I hate it, that's why screens are important because there's a bunch of different screen designs you can make. And the Seahawks actually ran 2 successful ones today. One to AJ, one to Ken. So shout out to them for doing that. They get that done. I think they went for 14 yards and 13 yards respectively. So good job. Golf clap. But yeah, I think not only were they ready with the batted passes, but to take it a step further, there was a lot of those today where they did a good job knowing that the quick game pass would go to Jax. Like there was one today as well. Let's see if I can find this in my little rewatch notes I had. So here's one. The first play of the second quarter, good example. So right as soon as they snap, it's quick game. 2 guys rush to Jackson, one underneath, one over the top. Now the ball ends up going to Cup for about 5 or 6 yards. But if you're the Vikings, you're like, great. Yeah. have at it, buddy. Cup's not those cup catches won't kill us. Now they did miss a tackle on the Cup's first catch, but if I'm playing the Seahawks, that would be my plan. Throw it to Cup all you want. God bless. Cup had 3 catches for 24 yards. I would do that. I would let you have that. There was another one where I think it's 3rd and 10 to Shaheed, the one that they said he caught it and then he didn't. They was like, all right, cool. We got a guy underneath to Jax. We know you're gonna get it out fast because we're showing a zero look. They dropped the guy underneath, brought a guy over the top. It's like, you don't have to throw this slant to Shaheed or whatever that was. God bless. Same thing on Cody White's catch. Great catch by Cody. They doubled Jax. Said, all right, one guy underneath, one guy over the top. You want to throw this slant to number 82? God bless. You can have that. And so I think it's not just the quick game, so to speak, but I think just Minnesota, they finally did, Chris, what I think we've been anticipating for, I don't know, 13 weeks. A team to really sell out and say, throw it to someone else and beat us. The Vikings on November 30th of 2025 were the only team to say, someone else beat us. I dare you. And so the Seahawks did not have a good answer for that. So I honestly shout out to the Vikings for that, but that was predictable. Some team was going to do it, and so we'll see how other teams handle it. Every team's not going to do that, but the Vikings did, and it worked. So I think the adjustment for the Seahawks is okay, cool. Let's say a team does do that. How do we counterpunch? One is to run the ball, but 2 is to punish them with stuff deep. Like, okay, here you don't want us to get this throw to Jax, but here's this 40-yard bomb to Torrey Horton. Here's this 35-yard seam to AJ Barner, like explosives without Jax. Like, it's one thing to just give up a 6-yard curl to Cooper Kupp. Teams will live with that. But you gotta make them pay deeper with the other guys. And in theory, that's why you traded for Shaheed. So that's why it's kind of concerning they haven't got to that. But that is the counterpunch besides just, running the ball.
This next one is from Mayonnaise. For Flores, he seemed to dial up the exact right pressure blitzes. Can we expect that to be good teach tape for other teams, or is that uniquely Flores?
It's a really good question. Glad someone asked this. You said mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise.
Okay, cool. Let's go with that. Great question. No is the answer. Flores' defense is very unique in that way. I think that you can get in trouble as a defensive coordinator trying to be like, all right, here's how the Vikings attack these guys, so let's copy that. The Vikings have a very unique pressure package. They're very similar to the Seahawks in that, like, they show a lot of stuff and try to send everybody at the quarterback at varying times. The difference is the Seahawks are ultimately usually only sending like 4 guys. Flores is like, I'm about to send like 7, and it works. Statistically, to break that down for you, the Seahawks blitz 21.4% of the time, according to True Media. That's the 5th lowest rate in the league. The Vikings are up to 46.7% blitz rate. That is the highest in the league. So you're talking about a big gap in philosophies, but the idea is the same. But it's just hard to copy what the Vikings do because you really got to have rules and have counters. You got to really instill that. You can't just on the fly, all right, this worked for them, let's try it. That said, Falcons are second in blitz rate at 36%. So we may see it this very next week, to be honest. And the Falcons are also 3rd in sack rate, higher than the Seahawks. So we may see a little copycatism, but the Falcons honestly might just feel comfortable playing their stuff. Falcons are 5th in pressure rate as well. So, but no, I don't think it's teach tape in that way of just, oh, this is what Flores does. It worked. Let's do it. I think what the Rams did is honestly more repeatable because the Rams were just like, we're just going to toy around with our safety rotations to see if we can get Sam to do something stupid. Now, I think teams can do that because a lot of teams are rotating their safeties anyway. That's just kind of the new normal in the NFL. So that's easier, I think, to replicate. But if you just throw on the Vikings tape, like, let's do what Flores does. If that's not already your bag, you can't do that. Like the Colts, see what their blitz rate is. I haven't studied their scheme, but yeah, the Colts blitz rate is 23.2%. So a smidge over the Seahawks, right? So the Colts can't be like, all right, let's do that. That just won't work. It's not their identity. Let's put their DC. I forget who their DC is over there. So, it's the old Bengals guy, Lou Oriema or something. That's just not his bag to do that. So it's not teach tape. But I think for the Seahawks, they can learn from it, if that makes sense.
This next one comes from Cougahan. Should Seahawks fans be concerned about the depth of the offensive line? When the right guard blatantly missed blocks, yet only sit when injured? ?
No, I think the reason that I call the Anthony Bradford stuff by you guys so mean is because it just feels like it's being done in bad faith a lot of the times. I think today was a good example when Abe clearly gives up a sack, and it's just like, look, AB didn't block nobody. Like, you got to understand protection calls and what guys are trained to do in any given moment. Even when one where Sam spun out, like that would look like a half slide, and AB is gonna block the guy right in front of his face. That guy eventually drops out. Like, that's like a good protection beater, from what I can tell. Not necessarily, oh, look, Anthony didn't block nobody. Well, the guy he was probably supposed to block based on the protection plan ends up dropping out late. Not right away, drops out late too, that's why those protection plan busters work. The Seahawks do that to people all the time, which is why you see like, oh, why nobody blocks Spoon? Like, that's how simulated pressures generally work. Is just like, okay, we put 7 on the line. We made you try to figure out where the pressure's coming from. And then we sent guys from the other side or something. We got you to slide the protection one way. We came from the other side. You sent your center the wrong way. Now we have Tyrese Knight coming unblocked at Jacoby Brissett. So I think that the Seahawks know that. They know their rules. They know what guys are coached to do. So they're watching the film and being like, oh, this is why that happened, not just, oh, Anthony Bradford sucks. Like, I don't think he played well today for what that's worth. But the reason that, like, oh, Mike, why is 75 on the team? Well, because they know the assignments. They know the rules. They also watch the whole tape. They see that, oh, okay, Gray Zabel getting his butt kicked over here by Jeff Simmons today. No one asked us about that. I think Olu had a really bad game against the Rams, getting whipped by Puna in that game. No one asked about that because the Seahawks see all of that. You can't just replace everyone when they have a bad game or two. And then, Chris, as you know, when AB does make blocks, no one hits us up. No one. Today, Sam Darnold had a dot to AJ Barner on like 3rd and 8. AB picks up a stunt, I believe, and boom, Sam has time. My mentions, crickets. And that's just not for us to be Anthony Bradford apologists per se, but if you're wondering, oh, why does he play? Well, guys, there's a lot more tape than the 7 plays that get thrown into a TikTok highlight. There really is. Chris and I, we're not gonna do it, but we really could. Like, as bad
Maybe
as
we should, Mike. Maybe
no, I'm not gonna do that. Well, you can do it. I'm not, because I gotta go in the locker room. Yeah, I gotta go in the locker room. I'm not gonna do that. But like, if we really want to, I can give you a player that we could do it for. But we won't. We could.
No, I'm talking about doing a positive plays though, not negative.
No, I would say by comparison, someone who no one complains about, who we could do the same thing for. How people make these little low light reels. They do the same thing for Robbie Hoots right now, and it would look like, wow, why did they draft number 40? I'm not gonna do that because Robbie also has good plays too. It's just we don't have to sift through all of them and make TikTok highlights. I mean, it's fun. It's got people do that, but yeah, we could easily do that. Could do that for Abe too. Like, if somebody wanted to, they could go through and cut up 10 plays, put some funny sound behind them, like, wow, 72 sucks. You could. I could tell you the plays to go pick, but I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, the Seahawks have all that context. That's why they're just not benching 75. Now today, those blown run blocks will probably piss them off a lot. That makes sense. But it's a lot. What evaluating O-lineman goes a lot more deeper than the plays that end up getting clipped and shown and like on Twitter, like, why is he facing the wrong way? He needs to stop doing that. But it's not as bad as as you guys make it seem. He's not like an all-pro guard either, but it's not nearly as bad as it seems. I think you guys have just picked a person you don't like and just go at him. We're used to that, but yeah. 75 is y'all new guy, and you guys are mean.
Bubby stuff. Is Haynes the answer at right guard? Also, it seems like the run game has been more effective when Olu is in at center.
I don't. I think that a few things are happening with the run game. I don't know about Haynes. But Chris, I'm sure you can see this too. Running backs are running a lot better. They are running a lot better. Zach has stopped getting tackled by the first guy.
Did you see the run and how K9 finished early? I think it was in the first half. He just ran Buddy over. They had to sub him out probably for concussion.
Isaiah Rodgers. Yeah.
Oh. And Kim was fired up. Boy, he was on 20. I felt bad for that corner.
Yeah, he's a good corner too. But yeah, you could hear that on the broadcast. You could hear that. I hope he's okay. I don't know if he came back in, but
he did.
He did. Okay, yeah, they pulled him out. It was like, yo, you all right, dog? Because he got smacked, man. That was tough. I just think they're running a lot better. Like I think one of my favorite plays of Zach's today, or just in the run game in general, was Zach on like a 3rd and 1. Like he actually gets stopped like at the line, but his feet just keep moving, almost like a Flintstone pushing a car. And like he ends up getting like the 3rd and 1, and the guy ends up dragging him down late. But it's like he ends up getting it. They keep the drive going. It's like, yeah, keep your feet moving. Both of Zach's touchdown runs the last couple weeks, he's had someone hit him in the hole early, and he beats him. Today, I think he like shoved off a D lineman, and then last week he made a corner miss for his 5-yarder in Tennessee. Like I think there's a few variables contributing to the run game being better, but honestly, that's really one of them for me. Both of those guys are running it a lot better. They're showing a lot of patience, Chris, on those tosses. You see those a couple of times today. They got to the sideline, but then like chopped their feet, let the blocks develop. Zach had one where he ended up letting that happen. They ended up getting like 9 yards, something like that, in front of the Seahawks sideline. They was real patient. Ken had a shotgun run today that was real patient. Like he waited, put his hand on his lineman's back, found like 5 yards. So I think linemen aside, those guys are running a lot better, being more patient. Also, but then being more decisive when the hole is there. You see that on Ken's 24-yarder today. So obviously the O-line does matter too, but these guys, I think since the Cardinals game, I think the second one, those guys have just been running that ball a lot better, making people miss, and it's really been excellent. I think it's lifted the whole run game, really.
This is, let's see, this next one is from Dama, Aaron Ahmad, BC. Please diagnose the offensive line woes this game. What happened with all those sacks?
Let's see. What is it, Chris? 4?
So there
season
are 4
high?
sacks.
Okay.
So the first sack, Abe Lucas. Honestly, though, probably could have been called for offsides on the defense. I don't know if they timed it up perfectly. That was Grenard that got off. He might have been a little bit early on that. The officials missed that. So that was the first sack. So Abe Lucas, he got beat. I think it might have been offsides, but he still got beat. So it is what it is. And maybe Abe was expecting to get called. It didn't. The second sack was on Charles Cross. I think Sam needs to get rid of the football. So I will actually, Charles Cross got beat, but my God, Sam, throw the ball somewhere, throw it away. That was, I would say that's on Sam. So right now we're 1-1. The third sack, Andrew Van Ginkel. Oh my goodness. He just put AJ Barner on a mixtape. And I don't know. I think Charbonnet was expecting him to go outside too. I won't blame Charbonnet. AJ Barner has to be inside so that when he does spin, he's just there. Unfortunately, he just got put on a mixtape. That's a tough play for a tight end to try to go in there and block an edge rusher like Van Ginkel, who I think was leading the team in sacks last year. I don't remember. I know he had some crazy.
I think he made the Pro Bowl last year. Like he's a really good player.
Yeah, he's really talented, and he showed that there. So that's just a play that tough for AJ, but AJ has to make that and just not give up the sack there. So
yeah, he had 11.5 sacks last year and was second team All-Pro. Van Ginkel was. Yeah. That's good. That's a good player.
Okay, so good player. AJ Barner, Charbonnet, figure it out next time. Yeah, just gotta get it done. And then that fourth sack, I don't know what Collar Roper's doing. He just does not block the edge defender. He's like, oh yeah, run by me, and then strict sack, fumble. So those are your 4 sacks. 3 of them, you know what? Not even Sam's fault. So one of them, the one that I talked about when Charles Cross got beat, Sam, bro, you got to get rid of the football, man. You over there
Agreed.
trying to he's just holding it too long, looking for something downfield, and doesn't feel that pressure closing in on him. He has to be better at that. So that was just the one where I'm thinking that's on Sam. And to Mike McDonald's point, the offensive line has to be better, including the tight end. So call her up when you're in there. Gotta be aware. The protection's called. Block the guy in front of you. He just runs right by you. Not a good look on tape. So that's how those 4 sacks went. Anything you want to add, Mike, that I might have missed?
Yeah, not that you might have missed, but your breakdown there is important when you talk about sack totals, right? Like, I think Sam had only been sacked 11 times coming into the game. Not all that. Like, I hate when teams and Pro Football Focus or whoever, anyone trying to make an argument or anything based on an O-line's quality based on sacks. Sometimes, a lot of times, that is not an O-line stat. It's a quarterback thing. It's a play call thing. And there's other people in protection. Like you mentioned, that sack today, Van Ginkel, that got nothing to do with the O-line. It was a running back over there and a tight end that did not block the edge rusher for whatever reason. It did not. The other one, the strip sack, that's a tight end who did not block Dallas Turner. That's it. Like you said, under the cross one. Like, so keep that in mind, you guys. Not just the O-line. So when you see that stuff, it's like, oh, this O-line has only allowed this many sacks, second lowest in the league, or second most in the league. However anyone wants to interpret those numbers. That's just not fair. It's not true. It's not accurate. It really is. You got to go sack by sack and look, and to really get a feel for like what's going on. It could be the play call. It could be anything. So yeah, keep that in mind. I never again will I attribute sacks to just an O-line. I kind of learned that writing my book as well. Going back and looking at some of those sacks Russ took. That's neither here nor there, but let's just put it this way: that O-line was not nearly as bad as you guys think. Especially when it had Unger on it. Those days were really good. Russ was just back there bugging. So, yeah, sacks are not just an O-line thing. It's everybody. Protection, receivers, yeah, all that stuff.
Hey, fellas. We kind of answered this, but maybe we can get a crystal clear answer here. What is with Mike and his aversion to the barnyard? Twice on 3rd and 1, they didn't run it. Failed both times.
Yeah, I think he said it before. Like, is it a full yard? Is it a yard and a half? Is it inches? Like, the context doesn't matter as well to him. These are his words. I disagree with all that. I think you just run it till they stop it. That's it. Run it till they stop it. Now, I know he does not view it that way, and I do think you have to have some variety in your short yardage stuff. But if the tush push is in your bag, because it's not in every team's bag. If it's in your bag and you hit it enough, man, you better use that thing, man. It's just I don't like it. We've talked about this on the show before. I feel like I just don't like it. I don't use it. Use it. AJ's good at it. No, I don't think you need other wrinkles off of it. No, you don't. You saw how that looked in the Rams game. No, that was awful. Don't just run the barnyard. That's it. Run it till they stop it. I got a little secret for you, Seahawks. I got a little secret. You guys ready? Clint Kubiak, Mike McDonald. I'll say this real slow. They're not gonna stop it if you push him. They're not. They're just not. Look how teams are stopping the Eagles at it right now. They're not stopping Jalen. They're just taking the ball from him. That's completely different than stopping it. They've done it twice now, I believe. That other teams have to Jalen Hurts. They're not going to do that to AJ. So just keep running it until they stop it.
This next one is from Javier. How do you feel about the offense now since they've been running the ball a little better?
Yeah, no, I am encouraged by that, though. Actually, I meant to give the numbers. Can I give let's see. Ken had, I think they actually were graded out pretty efficient today. Let's see. Ken had 13 for 56, 4.3 yards a pop. 3 first downs. Zach had 14 for 52, 4 first downs, so 7. Between them, they went for 108 yards on 27 carries. Success rates were really good for Zach, 50%. They both had explosive runs. Yeah, man, I think the run game is hitting. I just need more. I feel like they need to have I feel like there's just no reason they can't have what these games when I look up and I see what like a Jonathan Taylor did, or not today. I don't know what he did today, but or what Bijan be doing, What the Bills have going with like James Cook, like I feel like this can happen, and it just feels like there's all of this untapped potential with the run game if they just be better. I am encouraged that they don't suck at it like they used to, but Chris, it feels like they can be better. Like, okay, you got it. You don't suck no more. Now go win the game because you can run the ball. Like, can you go do that? Because the good teams do have that in their bag as well. And I have yet to see them do that. And it feels like they can. They just haven't.
RG Seattle. Why is K9 getting all the yards, but Charbonnet getting all the touchdowns?
My fantasy team would like to know the answer to that as well. But no, I think what happens is it really is just a sequencing thing. If Ken starts the drive and they get down there, they typically sub him out because he's played a bunch of plays. Like if it's an 8-play drive, if it's a 10-play drive, and Ken started the drive, well, by the time we get to plays 8, 9, and 10, well, he's probably just subbed because that's what happens. If you're a Bijan fantasy owner, you're probably wondering the same thing about like Tyler Algier. I think he scores like every week too. Him and Zach be having the same lines. It'd be like 6 carries, probably 18 yards and a touchdown or whatever. 5 carries, 35 yards and a touchdown. Whereas Bijan, shoot, I think they have him today. Let me pull that box score up. I'm pretty sure I was thinking that watching a little bit of that game. Oh, Chris, this is perfect. Look at this. Bijan had 23 carries for 142 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Algier, 8 carries, 20 yards, touchdown. And it feels like Tyler does that every week, and it's a sequencing thing, really. I don't think it's like they don't hate Bijan, obviously. But I do think the splits, they should be more committed to their run game like the Falcons are. Like you'll see like the Lions are with Gibbs, and I use those two examples because those teams also use the other guy. They use David Montgomery, they use Algier, but it's very clear who the dude is. They should do that. But I mean, if Zach's going to keep running the ball as well as he is in the red zone, I don't have a problem with it either. Like he's earning that. Like I mentioned earlier, those 2 carries for touchdowns last 2 weeks, that's good stuff. That's making guys miss in the hole, and that's being explosive, decisive. Like I'm not going to advocate for him to pull a guy off the field when he's running like that.
Chris Leeper stops by again and asks, how concerned should Seahawks fans be about the amount of drives the offense has had to settle for field goals, especially when you look at games against the Rams and Vikings, 2 teams who get after the quarterback?
Let's see. How do we want to quantify that, Chris? How would you quantify how concerned? Maybe. Okay, let's do this, Chris. Give it on a 1 to 10. How about that? Do it on 1 to 10.
Easy. I would say it's probably about a 6 or a 7, just because I talked about earlier with the turnovers and why I'm pessimistic about the offense. Can't get it to Jax. Run game is solid, but it's still not where it needs to be. It's still not where they want it to be. But the good thing is they play action pass out of it. But that didn't happen much on Sunday. They scored a touchdown on a run late in the game. Their other touchdown was Ernest Jones. So it's concerning. I would put it at a 6 right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm sure, it's an interesting number. They get field goals on 6%, 18.5% of their drives, 6th highest in the league. So I mean, you're getting points. Seahawks on points per drive are 10th. They have a really good offense. So we're nitpicking a little bit here, but yeah, I think the broadcast said it really well. They were like, the Seahawks are great offensively. They just have 2 very obvious warts. They're like the worst team in the league on 3rd and long, which they are, about 14%. They turn the ball over more than anybody else. It's like that. Every team has its warts, but those 2 are really those bother me a bit. So yeah, I think 6 probably about right.
All right, we got a few more, Mike. This next one is from Slim. Why should I believe Sam Darnold can win us 1 playoff game?
Oh man, I hope people aren't on Sam's ability to. Sam's a good player. He is a good player, man. He generally makes good decisions. He generally throws the ball accurately. I don't want to undersell what he's done in totality this season. Also, Sam is capable of not turning the ball over. He is. Now, hasn't done a good job of it this year, but he can do it. I think that they can get some favorable matchups in the playoffs here. Like if they got to go to Carolina, this could come back to bite me if they lose to Carolina week 17. But if they got to go to Carolina, even if they got to go to Tampa, I feel like they'd be okay. I would trust Sam to play well in either of those games. Now, if you talk about after that, I'm not sure. But I mean, yeah, Chris, I'm not out on Sam winning a playoff game. He good player. Like if the good Sam shows up, they can be fine. I feel like I don't even think today was bad Sam per se. I think he was fine. He was kind of whatever. He wasn't the reason that the offense I think didn't do well. I think Kubiak really. I don't know if I'm making this clear in the other parts of the show. I think Kubiak got his ass kicked today, just without even watching the film. That's kind of how I feel. So I don't think it was a Sam thing today. I think they can be okay. However, I would like to see just a better overall offensive performance from a team that tries to, bring pressure the way these teams are. I do need to see that because some of Sam's best games, like we mentioned, are against teams that not getting after him. So when teams start to get after you, then what? How does that look? And so far, not great. Particular, I think Chris, by EPA per play, EPA per dropback, his four worst games are against the Texans, Rams, Vikings, and Niners. And obviously the Vikings stink, so they won't be like a team you'd see in the playoffs, but the Rams and Niners are. And it wasn't good enough. So that does worry me a little bit, but I think you're not going to play any of those teams in the first round. So I think he'd be okay for that first game. I won't sell Sam that short.
All right. This next one comes from Rumpelstiltskin. With the Rams dropping a game to the Panthers, the Seahawks control their own destiny in the NFC. The AFC looks weak. Question, why not the Seahawks? Why not us?
Yeah, I mean, when this defense is playing like this, defense is good enough to get you there. I think there are two teams I would say, maybe the Broncos feel this way as well. Let's throw them in there. There are three teams I feel like who probably could confidently say, like their coach can walk in there and walk into the offensive meeting room and say, if you guys are just average, we can go to the Super Bowl. Like if Mike McDonald just walks in there and said, like, just play ball control, play Pete ball, possess it, run it, don't give it to them. We're gonna go to the Super Bowl. We are. I can see Sean Payton walking in there and saying that to the Broncos. I mean, they won today, but I'm not a fan of what they're doing on offense with Bo Nix. I think they have the same issues that the Seahawks have, and in terms of like fear of their quarterback messing it up. And then the other team I would say is Houston. Actually, those are the three best defenses in the NFL. Actually, besides the Rams, I feel like if D'Amico Ryans, head coach of the Texans, walked in and said, CJ, Nico, O-line, if y'all just be average, we are going to go to the Super Bowl. And none of those coaches would be wrong. But the question is, can those offenses do that? Because all of those quarterbacks can have some really shaky moments if they get rattled up a little bit. You've seen it from Sam. Haven't seen it as much from CJ in the playoffs. I think he's like 2-2 playoffs or something, and Bo Nix didn't play well in his one playoff game. So, but the Seahawks are in that bucket of teams, I think. That's why the Rams, I think, are so scary, because it's like Stafford's going to have to stink up the joint for us to not go to the Super Bowl. And Stafford just don't typically stink up the joint. Like today, it doesn't look like he played well, but that's why the Rams are so scary to me. But the Seahawks are they're in there. And the Seahawks actually, Chris, having a better than average offense, actually, by a lot of metrics, but it just feels like that's the formula. Be average. Our defense is playing such good ball. Did we mention what they did to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson today? Did y'all get a peek at these numbers? This is dog. Justin had 4 yards. He had 4 yards. Addison had 36. That's ridiculous, man. You guys remember what they came in here and did last time? Those guys had 3 touchdowns for about 180 yards between Justin and Jordan. They did nothing today. And that's because these guys were not just because they were playing with this Brosmer dude, they were dropping the ball for one. And then 2, the Seahawks were strapping up. So this defense is playing at just such a high level that, guys, if you just want to go to the Super Bowl, I feel this is just be average. Just be the 13th best offense. You do slightly better than average. Same thing in Houston and Denver. Those 3, if they just do that, I really think the Eagles too, I guess. But that's all that the way these defenses are playing, that's all they need. That's all the Seahawks need, I think.
Last one comes from Pratik. With all due respect to Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, and Brandon Mebane, is this the best defensive line we have ever had? If so, they deserve to be named.
Ooh, Chris, I don't know if we can say that. Can we?
You gotta put a staple on it, man. Just like the Warriors, they went 73-9 and didn't finish. Seahawks have opportunity to do something special. They got to finish. So they're doing great things right now. Finish the season strong the way you want to with the trophy, and we'll get to that. And obviously, if they do that, they would have to have – it would be crazy. Because as you mentioned, they have 17 dudes that have gotten sacks, but you're seeing the dominance from guys on that D-line. Leo, DeMarcus Lawrence are starting to play well. And our guy, Byron Murphy. Everybody was kind of like, oh, was he the right guy? Trust me. A lot of the metrics that you would pay attention to, they don't show up on the stat sheet. You have to go and rewatch the tape and see the things that he does and how he creates problems for offenses. And you're seeing it, and he's also making the splash plays, the tackles for loss, the sacks. He's doing all of that. So right now, it's no, but let them go out there and win a Super Bowl, and the defense is a vital role for that. Because I'm sure going into that Super Bowl against the Broncos in 2013, no one thought about the D-line and how elite it was. But after the game, they're like, damn, this entire defense is good, and that D-line is really good. So, yeah, the Seahawks have they can definitely get it done. If they get that done, then they will probably go down as one of the best D-lines ever. But you got to get it done first. So let's just see how it plays out.
Yeah, that's what it's. I don't even know if they need to win it because the offense could be the reason they don't, and special teams. But just play at that level. We'll know it when we see it. You know what I mean? We'll know it because those guys did it to the best offense ever at the time, which was that 2013 Broncos. They beat that ass up front early. Cliff still has the fastest score in Super Bowl history, which he'll remind anyone any chance he gets, because I would too. Shout out to Cliff. Stat real quick. You mentioned Byron Murphy making the plays. Byron leads the Seahawks in sacks with 7. He is tied with Leonard Williams. They lead all defensive tackles in sacks. They do. I'm looking at the leaderboard here. Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Aiden Hutchins, Max Crosby, Rashawn Gary, Montez Sweat, Will McDonald. Those are all edge rushers. So, yeah. Then next is Jeffrey Simmons, who has 6.5. That's a defensive tackle. Malik Collins, defensive tackle in Cleveland, 6.5. Zach Allen has 6 with the Broncos. I believe that is updated to include Sunday Night Football. So, yeah. To your point about those splash plays that Murph is making, yeah, he is playing at a no one asked this, I don't think, but Chris, the Seahawks have like 7 guys playing at a Pro Bowl level to some degree. It is actually pretty bananas. I was thinking that today. I was like, Kobe's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Ernest has been. Probably won't have the stats.
Josh Jobe.
Josh Jobe's come down a little bit, but because some corners have been making some splash plays, which you usually need, but playing at a really high level. I mean, Reek's playing high level too, but like Drake Thomas quietly is in like one of the splashiest inside linebackers in the league, like 3.5 sacks, 6 PBUs, 7 TFLs that aren't sacks. You kidding me? I was looking at his numbers today.
Lawrence.
Yeah, D-Law. You can talk about splash and impact plays. Like D-Law killing it. Murph and Leo are playing at like all Pro Bowl / All Pro levels, and obviously Jackson as well. That's probably the only guy on the offense. Sam. Sam should get in there for the quarterbacks. I think the NFC is not. I think Stafford and Dak will probably take 2 of the spots, and then Sam would be right there fighting with, like, I don't know, Jordan Love or something. Maybe I'm forgetting someone. But anyway, point being, this defense has like 5 or 6 guys who could be Pro Bowlers on it. That
How many
is,
all
pretty good.
pros? Just
Uh,
Leo and Byron, and they fighting for one spot.
they both in theory could make it, but I think like Zach Allen will probably take a spot on there. That's a good question. Yeah, maybe Leo and Murph. They both are playing. They're going to be in the conversation for sure. DeMarcus Lawrence is playing really well too. Like DeMarcus Lawrence has like 5 sacks, 6 TFLs, a couple forced fumbles, 2 defensive touchdowns. You know, like he's making it happen as well. Kobe's playing really good ball. I think Kobe gets a couple more splash plays. He's going to be in that conversation as well, along with Bayard in Chicago. So they got a few guys, man. Inside linebacker, I have to really take a deeper dive, but that Minnesota kid's playing well. The Wilson, number 51 from today, playing well. That Rams guy, Landman's playing well. Got paid.
Oh,
So
after he put ass.
yeah. It's gonna come down. Speaking of low light reels, so it's gonna come down to like keep making splash plays, but they have a lot of guys to the point of the question of like, this is the best D line. They just got to keep. If they do what they're doing through January, then yes, I think they will be like the combination of, in terms of just single season performance, the combination of what Murph, I would say D-Law and Leo are doing is as good as anything from any of those guys from that 2013 season, for sure. And that was those guys playing at a high level. Clem, Mike B, Cliff. These guys are doing just it's just as impactful. I would say they're scoring touchdowns, they're getting sacks. Like it's just they're stopping the run. Chris highlighted their short yardage stuff. Our what was that? Was that our standout, or was that one big thing last week?
That was one big thing.
And then the Vikings were like, remember, we were like, you were like, huh, I don't know why teams keep running it on the Seahawks on 4th and 1. I'd stop doing that. What do you know? Kevin O'Connell was like, God damn it, Christopher Kidd, you're right. We're going to throw it. Now we see what teams were running it.
Sure. Ernest, here you go.
Hey, Kevin O'Connell, I understand the numbers supported throwing it. They absolutely did. Boy, was that a bad idea. 85 yards. Yeah, that was bad. But hey, the process was sound. As Chris outlined last week, running it on the Seahawks on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 is dumb as hell. It just turns out having Max Brosmer throw it is even dumber. It is. That's it. That was the only problem. The process was, if he just takes a sack there, it's perfectly okay.
Hey, you know what? Isn't that a 10-point swing there, Mike?
Yeah, they could. I mean, if they could have just kicked on 4th and 1 and taken 3, assuming he makes it. And instead, it could have been 3-3, and instead it was 10-0. I believe that's how the math checked out there. So yeah, I mean, I get what Kevin O'Connell was doing, as you talked about on One Big Thing. Teams running it on the Seahawks at short yardage was dumb as hell. But then Max Brosman was like, "You want to see something dumb? Watch me throw this like I'm throwing a beer to my homie across the living room. Just launch that joint right to Ernest." Oh,
that play terrible. That play right there says, "Yeah, we got to put JJ back in, man." That's that. I don't know what.
Nah, yeah, he should not play. He should not play at all. I bet you JJ McCarthy gonna pass that concussion test on the flight. Flight back. Hey, we can't put number 12 out there again. Justin Jefferson, 4 yards? It's your fault if Justin Jefferson has 4 yards. I don't care nothing else about the game plan.
Oh my God. Well, look, man, it's not a Vikings podcast, as Mike loves to say, for any other show. We're talking about other teams, but we appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. Wow, we have a lot of clips for this episode. My goodness. TikTok, Instagram. Make sure you get Mike's book too. Oh, I put it back on the bookshelf. Hang on.
I got one here too. I got a stack here. We've been shipping books all week, man. If you ordered a book from me already, you should be getting it soon, unless you're overseas. Then it's gonna take a little bit. But our first and second shipment of books. Second shipment's going out tomorrow. First shipment already went out. The first 30, the next 20 are coming out this week. So appreciate all you guys have been ordering online. Again, hit my DMs, get our Seahawks Instagram DM as well. All the DMs are open. Hit me. I get you a signed copy, even if you can't make it to a game. So make sure you guys do that. Appreciate the love and support. What we got next? Oh, one big thing coming out on Wednesday. I'm going to do a preview show with the homie Tori, looking at the Falcons game. Falcons are bad. She'll tell us all about it. That'll come out on Wednesday as well. So like, follow, repost, reshare, and I'll hit all the buttons. We'll catch you guys later in the week. Peace.